Well, Harry, huge congratulations. What a contest, what a win. But I just firstly wanted to ask you what's happened over there by the England goal, because there looks to be some concern.
Yeah, Jordan, my voice is gone. Hendo just fell over there. I think he's okay, just something to do with his arm.
Okay, well, as for the performance, I think it says it all, the fact that your voice has gone. That was some contest to watch. What on earth was it like to play in?
Yeah, it was a crazy game. We had to fight. We had to find something. Yeah, I've just been sitting there. I can't really talk, but all the occasion, the team, everything against us, we found a way.
I was going to say, is that what pleases you the most, the resilience today? Because even your penalty, a word on that as well, not the one you scored, the one you conceded. What did you make of that?
Yeah, I thought I got to the ball first. It was one of those days that the ref gave a lot against us. And in the end, it didn't matter, so yeah, I'm happy.
I'm going to try one more question if your voice holds out. What can this do for England going forward? You've got a quarter-final in Miami against Norway to look forward to. What can the England fans look forward to now?
Well, just look at them here. Incredible. Unbelievable support. Speechless. I can't even talk, so...
Go and rest that voice, rest up. Thanks, Harry. Well, Thomas, I almost don't know where to start. What a match, but you must be one incredibly proud manager tonight.
Yeah, because if a team has heart and if a team has belief, then it's this team. They did it on pure will, yeah, no words. I mean, that's iconic match, an iconic stadium, and we overcome so much adversity today. Full credit, very proud.
Is that almost what impresses you most, in that intense atmosphere, that hostility, that blow after blow, England kept coming back?
Yeah, I didn't feel it hostile. I found it more like cheering and emotional, but not really hostile. But of course, like, I mean, you were close to the bench now when the national anthem was unbelievable, and when they had chances and they scored their goal. We were aware of that, but we just refused to give in. We refused to give in on a level that is absolutely admirable.
What did you make of some of the refereeing decisions?
It's just not good enough. Referees are just not good enough. Force officials are just not good enough. It's the bottom line. VAR today, I think did I see that right? That 3 people at the VAR from South America in a match like this. I think so. I saw this before the match. I might be, but if this is what I saw, if this is correct, it's just VAR overturns. Is this a clear and obvious error for the mistake? For the penalty, for sure not. Like VAR gets involved. He didn't even give the foul. He didn't even overturn a yellow into a red. They overturn a situation where he doesn't even give a foul. No, referee is not good enough. Force officials are not good enough.
Focusing on the positives, I'm sure you want to call out most of the players on the pitch. Harry and Jude will get the headlines, but word on the performance of Anthony Gordon as well.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant today, and everyone. I mean, the guys from the bench, just amazing again. But yeah, it's not worth it to mention individual names. Like everyone is exhausted, and everyone knows that they won a crazy match of football in a crazy atmosphere, and we were up against all odds, and even during the match, I mean, in the end it was 11 minutes, and he gives another 2 corners to make it 12 minutes. So no, everything went against us, and we just refused to give in.
Is this more of the England that you've promised us that we see now?
No, because I think we can play much better, and there's a lot we can do better, but it's like there's still a disconnect from us, from the best version of us that I see, to what we actually put on the pitch in terms of football performance, in terms of ball possession, finding spaces. There's still a disconnect, but there's no disconnect in committing and doing what is needed to overcome anything that is thrown to this team. I think it's a team that everyone can be really proud of.
And just quickly, how's Jordan Henderson?
Oh, not good. I mean, this is the next thing. We have right defender now with a red card, and Jordan just fell over and injured his wrist. It looks really bad.
Okay, we wish him all the best. Thanks for your time, Thomas. Huge congratulations. What an effort from every single player on the team. What are your thoughts on what you and your teammates have just done out there?
Hard to gather it all together, really. With 10 men, defending like how we defended our box, clinical like we were in their box. You know, big pressure moments that, you know, maybe in years gone by, you know, especially me watching as a fan, as a little kid, probably England would have crumbled. And you know, this team, they stuck together until the last second. You know, the players who came on, the players who started running themselves into the ground, putting the body between everything. That's what this team's about.
What was it like being in that atmosphere, and also then when you were seeing some of those refereeing decisions, the adversity that England were having to come up against?
Yeah, the atmosphere was by far the best I played against in international football. I think this country, as a footballing country, is just magnificent. The reception we had coming off the plane, you know, although it was hostile, it was just a beautiful thing to see in terms of how passionate one country can be about their team. And in terms of the refereeing decisions, it is what it is. You know, in the World Cup, they're human as well. As easy as it is to say now, they're human. We made a lot more than they did. So yeah, no worries, we got through.
Your 2 goals were inside 98 seconds, which were undoubtedly important, but was that clearance at the end of the first half as well arguably just as important?
Yeah, it could have been. Obviously at 2-1 the game was still there, especially when they scored. It felt like the stadium almost collapsed, so yeah, it was probably an important clearance, just as important as the goals. But you know, this win is far bigger than me. It's the players who came on, like I said. It's the supporters who have come to Mexico and probably had a difficult journey, paid hard-earned money. This is a team, a whole country's performance. What
can this confidence and belief do for England going into what looks like an exciting quarter-final against Norway?
Well, it's still one game at a time. You know, at the end of the day, it's still just around a 16 win. The quarter-final now coming up against Norway, they pose a completely different threat. Some that we know really well, obviously some world-class players in there, so we'll have to be ready. But my God, if you can't enjoy a night like this just for one night, then I don't know what it's worth.
Just one quick word on your friend Jordan Henderson. We saw him in what looked like quite a lot of distress at the end. How is he?
He's in a bit of bother, but our medical team have got everything under control. Probably not best to give too much detail when I don't really know too much going on. But yeah, everyone was there to support him, and even that was a beautiful thing to see.
Thanks, Jude. Pleased you've got a voice, because Harry doesn't.
Yeah, I know, I've heard.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah, we wish.
Well, Jordan, what a match. That's probably one that we're still going to talk about for years, and I'm sure you'll never forget.
No, it was unreal. A lot of emotions, a lot of positives, showing resilience, showing character, and it was just it wasn't pretty at times. In the first half, it was pretty. Them 2 goals from Jude was special. Then they get back in the game, then we get a penalty with Kane scoring it, and then they get back in the game. It just had everything that puts you on the edge of the seat. That's what football's all about, and it's not pretty at times, but it shows our togetherness, and it was a special night.
As you said there, Jude and Harry will probably get some of the headlines, but you as well told me recently that you thrive when you get to the knockouts. Did we see that tonight?
Yeah, I think you see the version that I set myself and the standard I set myself tonight, and producing saves and big moments and decision making and moments, coming for crosses. I thought it was the standard that I set myself, and that's where I aim to be all the time and keep improving on that. And when called upon, big moments and big times, that's where I am.
Joe Hart's in our studio, and I know he's been waxing lyrical about just how good you were. Those saves, particularly at the end of the first half, and he's also noticed how you started to come for the ball more, particularly when you went down to 10 men, the responsibility that you almost took on your shoulders.
Yeah, that's what I've got to do. I'm one of the most experienced lads in the group, and when called upon, you know, you got to roll your sleeves up, and I think I've always done that. I've always had that fight in me, that passion and the pride that I'll always have on the shirt. And it was a great game for me, and that's a standard itself. And Harty, it was decent.
And that is the perfect ending, Jordan. Thanks so much. Well done. What a night for England. Have you had a chance to really process what you've all just done out there?
I think it probably won't kick in until this evening, but just to celebrate like we just did and with the fans out there was once in a lifetime. We spoke about this game being a once in a lifetime opportunity, once in a lifetime atmosphere, but it was also going to test us, and it did in the worst way possible, and we come through. I can't say any more about us.
You talked there about coming through it in the worst way possible. We spoke so much in the build-up about the altitude, the atmosphere. What was the reality like?
It was difficult. I think the travel and stuff weren't great. The altitude of the first 20 minutes was difficult. Even in training yesterday, I felt it in my chest, so it was a bit worrying. But listen, we're good players. We play at the top level. That's what we're paid to do, to handle these kind of situations. We got the fans' expectations. They've travelled all this way. We were never going to let them down. We knew it'd be tough, but big players, big moments.
A lot of people are saying that was your best performance of the tournament so far. You won the penalty as well. How did you feel out there and the impact that you had on the game, just like you did in the round of 16?
Good. I knew when we got a man sent off, I knew I'd have to be trustworthy. I knew I'd have to run more than ever, and I was happy to do so. I'm a player that I kind of want to be good at everything. I want to be whatever kind of game I'm in. I can, change my game. I can be good in any way, be effective in any way. Today, didn't touch the ball that much, I don't think, from what I remember, but I ran, I blocked crosses, I defended, I won a pen. I tried to do my best for the team, and hopefully I've done that.
Is this the England that we've all been desperate to see? Thomas Tuchel told us the further we went into the tournament, we'd see it. Are we starting to see it now?
I hope so. That's for you to say. We focus on the process. We focus on how we play, how we train. The outcome we can never control, like the red card and stuff. We can never control things that happen to us, but we can control how we react. We can control how we train. We can control how together we are, and that's doing us well so far.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Kelly.
Jude Bellingham is talking to our reporter Jeff Shreves.
Jude, that big smile says it all. Just what sort of result is that to come here against this opposition in this stadium at this altitude?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably one of the biggest England wins in a while. Probably the biggest one I can remember as a fan or player. The best night of my England career, our England career, probably. Yeah, just unbelievable. I can't put it into words right now. It's tough to kind of gather everything together. The goals, the penalty against, the penalty for, the red card. It was a chaotic game, but credit to Mexico, they were a different class. We never underestimated them for 1 minute, and they were exactly as good as we thought they were going to be. But this team showed character tonight, and I'm proud.
Is that what it took to get it over the line, that character? Because you did it with the game, literally half the game with 10 men.
I was just saying that it felt like a full squad performance. It felt like we had 26 players. Every time we cleared the ball, when Big Dan Burn, smashed his head off one and cleared it up the pitch, you could see all the subs on the sideline up, all the staff. The fans got behind us in the stadium. I'm sure they're in bits at home, supporting us and watching us. So yeah, that was a real country performance.
And look at this, the England team on their way out. Former England striker Peter Crouch, we had him on our pre-game show, waiting for Jude Bellingham and waiting for Harry Kane as well. How about that for a hug?
They know who he is.
That's Anthony Gordon. They definitely know who he is. Look at that, everyone knows who Peter Crouch is.
Can't talk. The thing is, this has been described by the three of you, by Guy Mowbray on commentary, as one of the great England performances, one of the great England results. And the captain's interview afterwards is going to go down in history.
But that sums it up. That sums up the absolute madness that's ensued over the last couple of hours. Yeah. And what a man. He's left it all on the line. That's a sign of someone who's a leader who's lived and breathed every single minute. I'm going to have to hold it together here, because Waz has got... Altitude did affect him in the end.
Yeah, well...
No, we hope it all okay.
Yeah. Well, look, that's the other point.
That's the best interview I've seen.
Listen, you're right. It was thoroughly entertaining from Harry Kane. What he did start off by talking about, though, was Jordan Henderson. He says he's absolutely fine, but he did fall over the advertising hoardings. That's what we think has happened, and it looked like he was getting some oxygen as he was being stretchered off the pitch. So we'll get an update on that. Harry Kane was saying he isn't too concerned at the moment about that injury, but obviously Harry Kane in the middle of absolute delight after that victory for England. We talked about how difficult it would have been for them, having gone down to 10 men in that game when Quansah was sent off and correctly sent off.
He got sent off for serious foul play, didn't he? I think he was unlucky because he actually got the ball, but it was the follow-through as well, so it was a little bit unlucky. Wayne's exactly right. It could have been something that cost him, but in the end, it didn't.
I just think now the FIFA have set a precedent in terms of the Bellingham situation, and he gets a suspended, 1 year suspended sentence, if you like, on his red card. So now, what's the reason that the Quansah shouldn't get that?
Well, the argument would be that Balogun's was a debatable red card, and it wasn't rescinded. You're right.
Yeah,
and
they haven't taken the red cards away, so they're saying he's guilty of an offence. But it's now that's the question everyone's going to be asking if a player gets sent off.
It is, and it would be a fair question to ask. In terms of the penalty that England were awarded, any question at all about this decision? Was it about as clear-cut a penty as you could imagine?
Long punt upfield, Don't even think Kane gets the knockdown, to be honest. Gordon's just so sharp. It's that little backward step from the goalkeeper, and he knows as soon as you go down rolling around pretending you're injured, you know you're in trouble. It's a tiny little back step, but it's Gordon who was excellent all night defensively and offensively. Look at that desire. He knows all he's got to do is get that little flick, beats him to the ball. Massive moment, especially as they just had that sucker punch of getting the red card. And look at this guy. Look at this guy. Massive moment. You do not say them. He's gone ridiculously early, flown at it. Brilliant penalty. What a leader. What a hero.
What a guy. 6 goals now?
Yeah.
6 goals,
in the
one
World Cup.
off the lead in the race for the Golden Boots. 3 players atop of that leaderboard. But Harry Kane will be chasing down Erling Haaland, Lionel Messi and Kylian Mbappe. As we said beforehand, it's going to be some race.
I think it's Mbappe and Kane. I believe that's the final, France v England. And yeah, hopefully Harry can take the Golden Boot and lead us to glory. So yeah, it will be fascinating.
So down to 10 men in the game, but England get the penalty and they go 3-1 up, and you think, all right, well they've maybe done enough. As we thought in the first half, England maybe have done enough in order to get through this game, and yet Mexico back in it, and it was a penalty that they took another look at, and we looked at the best side of Harry Kane. He was the player who conceded the penalty. Bit of discussion, and Alan Shearer not at all convinced that this is a penalty. What are your thoughts?
It's soft, isn't it? But he does kick his foot, so a penalty is probably the right decision. But not all contact is a penalty.
So I think Alan's point was he didn't feel that it was a clear and obvious error. And I know clear and obvious isn't in the wording anymore, but he said it wasn't a clear and obvious error enough to overturn it. That was his
Well, I
thought.
think on reflection, Harry's only argument was that he felt that he got the ball. Obviously, in the moment, he would have felt like he got the ball, but I think it's very clear that he didn't there. So once he sees it again, I'm sure he'll be completely fine with that as a penalty. Yeah. And it'll be a whole lot more fine with it now. It hasn't actually cost us.
We seen one last season at Everton against Arsenal, which was not given, and VAR looked in and he didn't give it, but then he said later on it should have been a penalty. They got that wrong, so I think it was a penalty.
Especially benefiting from the Modric one in the Croatia game. I think it was very similar.
OK, and then so it's 3-2 at this stage, and then Thomas Tuchel makes substitutions that at the time when you were thinking was maybe a bit early to start protecting that lead.
I did. I thought a little bit early to drop in and concede we're not going to have the ball at all. And I think Mexico, as good as we defended, Mexico played into our hands here in terms of just putting balls in the box. And
I mean, that tells you what England were doing from 70 minutes onwards.
That's called the avocado defence.
No, but we defended the box brilliantly, but I think Mexico played into our hands in putting balls in the box and allowing us to head it out or Pickford to come and punch and take the pressure off his teammates. But I think if Mexico played a little bit more around the box and made it more difficult that way and made us try and get to the ball, it would have maybe been more difficult, and they lost patience, but we defended excellent.
Is that with the crowd weighing getting on them? They looked like they lost all sense of what was going on, and like you say, played completely into England's. If England could have set up a game plan against them once they made those changes, that's exactly what they would have wanted.
Yeah.
But the subs made a difference, didn't they?
Yeah.
I thought Byrne was outstanding. John Stones, the composure he showed as well. Even Spence in them one-on-one situations. I probably agree with you in terms of it felt like it was a little bit early, but in the end, it worked.
Yeah.
And you can tell that chemistry with the team. No matter who plays, they're going to do a job for the team.
Mick, sorry, just a quick note on Jed Spence. Obviously, he took a lot of heat from the last game. Was he injured? Was he not injured? That was an incredible effort what he put in for his team. There.
Yeah, I think it's difficult, isn't it? Because today's game was a little bit different to what we've seen, certainly in the grouping against DR Congo, and what Tuchel wanted him to do in terms of get up and down, and you see him on the sideline shouting him to go. It wasn't that sort of game today. It was come on, keep your composure and deal with the wide areas, and he did that fantastically
Big character,
well today.
though. I'm really pleased for him.
But even at the end here, the last 20 minutes, when what we've said with the three of us have pointed this out in the England games is when we open up defensively and we're running out of position and we're not covering the space, we look easy to play against. But even this shows with 10 men, when you're compact, even if you're deep, it's so difficult for the opposition to break you down. So I think moving forward with 11 players, we need to just get that balance right. But I'm going a bit negative here, but the performance, we have to keep that and take it into the next few games, because we will need that.
You said before the game, communication. We did the analysis before. They communicated a lot better today, and they needed to. It felt like a big occasion, and they rose to it.
I just think it's interesting just to go back to the substitutions, because what Tuchel was praised for right at the start of the tournament against Croatia was making very positive, very attacking substitutions, whereas in this one he did the opposite. He made very defensive substitutions and put pretty much every player behind the ball and said, right, we're 3-2 up, we're down to 10 men. We cannot lose this. It was a different approach from what we've seen from him.
That was an old school English mentality.
Yeah.
You know, when you all look at each other and say, keep the spaces, stop the crosses, and when it comes in the box, bodies on the line. And fair play to him, because I think that was the right thing to do. It turned out in the end.
It was just that in-game management, wasn't it? It's knowing when to, against Croatia, freshen up, bring new wingers on, and then today it was about, okay, let's defend our box. And that is ultimately the difference. Southgate, we've mentioned, so did such a good job, but it's just these little details, and that could be the difference.
In terms of his recovery, and as Jude Bellingham said, he's got the medical team with him, and they've got everything in hand. Jude Bellingham certainly had everything in hand as far as the game is concerned. I think what was interesting to see in terms of his performance was, we can look at the defensive side maybe when we look at Mexico's goal, but he gets these two really important goals, Wayne.
This is so good, the movement and the ability to see it as it's gone out wide and delay his run into the penalty box, and then just being that explosive and that movement to get into the penalty box and get in the end of it was brilliant. And again here, obviously we win the ball back high up the pitch, and then as Joe said at half-time, expected Harry Kane to shoot, and then just that desire to get in the box and on the end of things. And he's been fantastic this World Cup. He's been a leader. He's everything you want to a player from that position, helping out defensively. But there was debate whether he should start and should play in this World Cup. I think he's answered all them questions.
He's just an absolute superstar, isn't he? I mean, he always turns up, always gives 100%. Yeah, he's got that confidence that some might say is arrogance, but to be that type of player, you need that. That is the difference. And when he puts on that England shirt, he just seems to go up a level even more. I just love watching him. He's amazing.
And while he went, just when you talk about the confidence, while he went out of his way to praise the England fans, to talk about the feeling of togetherness, to talk about the unity within the squad, he did also say that when he was a kid, that this England, or an England team that he watched when he was a kid, would have crumbled. So just quick maths, 2018 when England reached the semi-finals, he'd have been 15. So I think he's talking about 2010 and 2014, and I didn't know if anybody wanted to say anything about that.
Well, we didn't crumble, we didn't turn off. We didn't do enough to crumble. So yeah, no, listen, he's completely right, and you just hope. I think England's got a team, a togetherness, and I think the manager's been very bold with his squad selection, and I think they've got everything in place now to go all the way, I believe. So we hope that they don't crumble.
Needed to, he could have spoken to the Mexican players in Spanish, because as we heard when he moved to Barcelona, he's pretty much fluent now. Look, in terms of his performance, you've all said how well he played. What was it that impressed you about him?
Just thought everything about his game. He was a real threat with the ball. He was making runs in behind. He was driving with the ball, causing the Mexican defenders problems. And then his work rate as well. He's a player who does work both ways, and he's a player you need in this type of game, I feel.
I just thought tactically his jump was a lot better, when he's winning the ball back. And when you've got that competition with Rashford, you need a game where you can just say, I've arrived. He's had that moment within the tournament now. And don't forget, going to Barcelona, big pressure, when teams win that low block, they're saying he's not got a trick, that was a perfect game for him today.
Winning that penalty as well, just after Quansah got sent off, was a massive moment, and he was so sharp, so switched on. He didn't let that red card cloud his judgment. That was a huge moment in the game.
I think there's been pressure on him as well coming into the tournament. The fact that obviously Barcelona have not taken Rashford, you don't know what's going to happen with that situation, but they've signed Anthony Gordon instead of Rashford, and there was pressure because people are saying, well, I think we should have signed Rashford instead of Anthony Gordon. So I think that he had pressure coming into the tournament, and hopefully this game tonight can kickstart his World Cup, and he can be someone who can actually lead us to something special.
Is it a straightforward choice for England wingers? Is it about Saka and Gordon and Madueke and Rashford? Is it about picking one on each side over the other, or picking the pair together, or is it about the fact that they are going to, in these circumstances, have to use all four of them?
If England are going to go all the way, they all have to feature. They all have to play massive roles over the next 3 games, potentially 3 games. So I think obviously a lot will be made on who starts, but they're all fully aware they're going to be coming on and having massive parts to play.
Including the England captain, you just heard it in his voice. Let's take you back to the Azteca. Jules Breach.
What an amazing interview from Harry Kane. We're just listening in there. You and me the same, Harry, you and me the same. These celebrations from the England supporters in here have been absolutely incredible to watch. But Javier, so emotional for Mexico. Their journey in this World Cup has ended, but what a run it has been. They had not won a knockout match at the World Cup for 8 World Cups. They didn't get out of the group stage in 2022. For 7 successive World Cups before that, they hadn't won a World Cup knockout match. They did it this year. They made Mexico believe again. How proud are you of your country for getting to this point?
Thank you, Jules, for mentioning it like that, because I am very, very proud of this national team. You know, they fight till the end. We knew it was going to be hard. We spoke about this altitude and all these things that they don't play. They don't play a match. Their best players show up, you know, and then we made some mistakes that we shouldn't be doing it. And in these stages against these teams, they punish you very, very bad. So, but I feel so proud of the people, the stadium, this iconic stadium. We had it again in a World Cup. That was amazing. It's so sad when you lose, but there's a lot of good players that they may have another chance in the next World Cup.
This is easily the best atmosphere I've ever been to in a football match, and you should be so proud of your support here. It's unbelievable. I have to say, we've been here with with most of the England fans. Has been, their support has been incredible as well. To travel here and to get tickets, well, they supported their team, and boy, did they get rewarded. We talked about before the game, big players need to step up. It's a great thing that he was playing Saka, because Saka will challenge, and Saka was the first player to actually challenge. That created the first goal. Yes. And in that was Bellingham and Harry Kane. Those 2 players today, I mean, without them, I mean, they were unbelievable. And then I have to mention Jordan Pickford. There's been so many question marks about Jordan Pickford over the years. Is he good enough to be an England goalkeeper? Can they win the World Cup with Jordan Pickford in goal? Well, today he answered all those questions. 3 massive saves, and that changed the course of the game. So congratulations to you. Well done, Jules. You know,
I did nothing.
No,
I
you
sat here and celebrated.
No, you support.
What do you mean you did
have
nothing?
cameras then.
You've been screaming for 2 hours.
With what England were up against today, though, Javier, down to 10 men in this environment, with everything that England had to face, will this be one of the toughest tests England will have at this World Cup?
I mean, yes and no. Yes, because it was the match that they played today, but they're going against Norway, and then from now on, every team that you're going to face is going to be harder and harder, because they want the same as you. You know, they want to win, they want to get far.
And of course, I mean, they're going to Miami. We were there the day before yesterday. Miami is a hard place to play with the humidity, the heat, but that's going to be the same for Norway. So it's going to be the same. They won't be able to do what they did physically and mentally today. I think that's going to... Hey, I can't wait for that game. That's an unbelievable matchup. Can you imagine Haaland up against players he's playing against every week? Oh my God, it's going to be great.
It's going to be fun. The Mexico fans, the Mexico supporters have been an absolute highlight of this World Cup. It's going to be so sad to see them go, Rebecca, and it has been an absolute privilege to be in here in this stadium tonight.